Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Y'all, today we are going to do some economical Dollar Tree crafting, but when we're done, you will never know it started out with Dollar Tree items. Stay tuned. So, if you want to take your paper crafting skills to the next level, if you want to become a craft fair standout, if you're looking for an awesome online crafting family, this is the channel for you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we do some amazing crafts on this channel. We use all types of materials to turn out some of the most creative and professional looking paper crafting projects that you can imagine. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you join our online crafting family. So you guys know that I love a good challenge, and my sister Denise is notorious for bringing me things and challenging me to come up with something really creative. And that's exactly the origin of today's project. It all started with this Dollar Tree cutting board. It's actually pretty sturdy. I had never seen these before, but it's a very hard plastic material, perfect for crafting on. So, challenge accepted. And guys, here is the before, and here is the after. So I took the Dollar Tree cutting board, Dollar Tree paper bag that I had, Dollar Tree notepad that I had, and some Dollar Tree twine. That's a hard one to say. Dollar Tree twine that I had, and I turned this into a wonderful writing board that can be mounted to the refrigerator. And on the back, I put some heavy duty magnets. So now this can be placed on the refrigerator. You can pull your pen out of the pen loop, write a note, write something you might need to pick up from the store. And the beauty of this, it is completely refillable because we're using those screws that I used the other day that just snap apart, and you can replace the paper on here and put it back on your board. And the paper pad is a 4x6 pad that I got from the Dollar Tree. So we are about to make this right now. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to remove this sheet. Sorry about that awful noise. And then the next thing that we're going to do is I am going to cover this board and tape. And I am going to try to stay within the lines when I lay down my tape. Then when I get to the edges like that, I'm just going to take my finger and just kind of position it so that I can go in with my finger blade and trim it off. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side of the board. So I am going to cover the whole board just like this. And when I get to the corners again, I am just taking my finger so that I can get my tape stuck in the corner. And then I can use my finger blade to just cut that out. I am going to get the rest of the tape placed down, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I have the inside body of this cutting board covered in tape. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to bring in one of my black and white Dollar Tree bags, and I am going to remove right above the fold here. So I'll use my finger blade, and I am just going to cut this off. just like this. And now I'll be using one of these sections. So all I need to do at this point is I am simply going to cut down the side. And I'll have this piece to work with. And of course, I'll be saving this piece because I'll be using it on another project. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to lift off the handles, just like this. So now I have a wonderful piece of paper to work with. I am going to try to get this straight so that my plaid isn't going too crooked, but you know what? It just might, and that's no biggie. So when I place this down, I am going to place it down just like this. Then I'm going to use my big old spatula to make sure I have every bit of this stuck down. So then I'll go around my edges and make sure that I've got a nice stick. And it's also giving me my guide for where I'm going to be cutting and removing paper. So once I've got that down, I am going to take my stylus and just reinforce where I need to start cutting and removing paper. So I am just going around the edges here, get that nice and traced out. Now I can use my finger blade and just go along the edges, following the shape of the board, but also those groove marks that I made. So just keep going along. When you get to the corner, just make some gentle cuts to round that corner, and then you can go ahead and cut down to remove your paper. So then once you remove your paper, you are going to have a nice little board that you have covered in beautiful paper, regardless of the paper that you're using. And all I was doing there was cleaning up my corners just a little bit. But see how easy that was? And you see just how gorgeous this is without me putting anything down on it. But we do need to put something on it because we have got to make the band so that we can make it so that another pad can be placed in. So all I'm going to do is I am going to open this just like this. Sorry about all that noise, but this is real life and how I truly do it when I'm crafting. And I am simply going to cut out a portion of this. And then I'm going to take this and fold it into thirds. And let me use my big old spatula just to get that smooth out. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I have enough to wrap around to the back so that it will hold. So at this point, now that we have this, I am going to take my glue, place down a little bit of glue, and then I'll place some glue on this piece. Fold that over. And I'll take this and I am just going to run it along my spatula, and that simply helps with getting my glue spread. So I'm just going to set that to the side for a minute because we need to make the pad before we'll even know where to place this. So to make our pad, I am using this Dollar Tree notepad, and you get 150 sheets. It's a 4x6 and the papers are blank, not lined. And I split it in half. So each one of my pads has 75 sheets on it. And I have already punched holes in some of the sheets. And I also have a piece of scrap chipboard that measures 4x6 that I'll be putting on the back. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take the rest of my paper. I do have my big bite here. And I am going to punch a hole. So then I'll place it in on the second hole, and I'm just using the hole that's already punched as a guide. And now I've got my 2 holes, and so now I can cut out my chipboard backer. So I'll take my hole punch, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just punching a hole using that first sheet as my guide. And I'll do the same thing over here. I'll punch a hole using the paper as the guide. All right, guys, so now that we have our pad cut out with the chipboard backer, I am going to be joining it using these little rivets. And they are easy to put together. Snap them together, pull them apart whenever you want to change out your paper pad. And you get a whole set of these in different sizes and different colors. And I've had these for a while, but I wasn't able to find them because I had so much stuff I didn't know where I had put these, but in the process of moving, found a whole bunch of stuff. This was part of it. So here's how we put this together. So I'm just going to line up my holes, and I'll take my snap and push it through just like that. Then I'll take the top piece and just put it on. And you heard that snap? It is as easy as that. So I'm going to take this piece, push it through, take this piece, and there. Didn't quite get the same snap, but it stuck. Okay, guys, so you can see that we have this sweet little notepad, and it has these nice little riveted snaps on it. Really gives it a more upscale look. Now we can take the band and place it down. So what I need to do is get to the back of my pad, place it down so that I know where to place the band, because I'm leaving some space at the bottom for my pin loop. So I am simply going to put it right here. Now I'll flip it over, add my glue, which is my Reptile Glue, and I'll get this stuck. And it's as easy as this to make yourself a band loop so that your pad is refillable. Now you could also put something on the back side of this if you want, but because I'm making this for the refrigerator, I'm going to need to add some very thick magnets, so I'm not doing anything to the back of this, but you could if you want. So there we have this gorgeous pad, and it's really starting to take shape, guys. So what we need to do right now is we're going to go ahead and make our pin loop. And again, I am using just pieces of my scrap bag. Doesn't take much to make that pin loop. So I am going to take this and fold it into thirds, just like I did the refillable band. And I'll place glue. And I'll do the same thing with this that I did with that larger band. Okay, so once we have our little loop, all I'm going to do is take a part of it and add some glue to it. And then I'm going to take that piece and just sort of tuck it under where the notepad is. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get it in the center. So I'm going to put the first piece under where the notepad is so that the notepad will cover a portion of this, won't cover all of it. And then I'll take my pen. When I put my pen in, I'm simply going to squeeze it as tight as I want it to be. Then I can fold that because I know that's where my loop is going to be. And now I'm going to snip off just a little bit because I don't need all of that. I am going to place glue on that piece, and then I'll just put it down. So I'm going to take my pen, put it back through so that I can have that as tight as possible, because I really don't want my pen flopping all over the place. So I want to get a really tight loop. So now you can see that I've got my pen loop on the bottom. We've got our pad here. Now we get to decorate this. And I'm going to be using something from this sheet. I haven't decided yet, but before we use our sticker, we need to go ahead and make the bow that I'm going to be using at the top. So you guys have seen me do this before. I have some Dollar Tree twine, and I am wrapping it around my hand, giving myself about a tail of this long. Then I'm just going to wrap it, and however many times you wrap it will determine how big and loopy your bow is. So I wrapped mine, I think 7 times, and then I'm sliding it off my hand. This is that very first tail. I want it hanging. Then this is the tail that's already connected to the twine ball. So at this point, I'm going to cut it away from the twine ball, and I'm going to wrap it around once, and then I'll feed it through that tail loop that I just wrapped around, and I'm just going to pull it together gently. I am not pulling this the way that you would a regular bow, because if you do, everything starts to unravel. So then, guys, I want to take just this little metal brad, and I am going to just feed that through on both sides. And the only reason I'm putting that down is because it gives me a cute little center, but it keeps in line with the rustic look that I have. So now we have this, and I can take my Reptile Glue, and then I'm just going to put that right there, and I'm putting that down now because I need to give it just a few seconds to set up and dry. So then I decided I would go with this Love Being in My Kitchen sticker, and I am just going to take that and just sort of tuck it right there, and it just adds a little bit of cuteness to this rustic charm that we have going on here. And don't you guys think that that is absolutely stinking cute? So I am going to flip this over, and we're going to place our magnets. And the magnets that I'm using are larger than the magnets you've seen me use. These magnets are disc magnets, ceramic disc magnets, and they're very, very thick, very strong. And I have been, seriously, I have been working on this box for probably 5 years. I bought it to make some refrigerator magnets, and you get 100 in here, and you don't always need to use magnets this thick and this strong, but in this case I did. You get 100 in this box, so I will see if I can link this, and if I can, if the company's still in existence, I'll link it in the description box in case you want to make something like this. And the reason why I am using magnets this big and this strong is because this is a heavy board, and I want to make sure that there's no problem with this sticking to the back. So I'm putting this down with my Reptile Glue, and I'm taking each magnet and putting them in the 4 corners of the board. So now that I have my magnets in the 4 corners, we can let this dry. All right, guys, so our beautiful, beautiful board is done. And don't you think this would look wonderful in anyone's kitchen? I know I do. And if you change out the papers, you can make this to fit any decor that you might have. But this was so inexpensive to make. And you too can make it and make yours look just as upscale as this one. If you went into the store to buy this complete look, you would pay a small fortune for it. You can get the look for under $5. So I am going to bring the first one back in so y'all can see just how wonderful these are. They are so stinking cute. I love how this turned out, and I think you will too. So if you happen to have a Dollar Tree in your area, stop by, pick up some of the white cutting boards, and turn them into something useful. But if you don't have a Dollar Tree, look at the discount stores that you do have in your area. They might have something similar that you can take and turn into something absolutely useful, because that's exactly what we have done here. We've taken a cutting board and turned it into so much more. So I hope that you guys have loved this project, because I have loved making it. And if you have, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, come on, get on board. We would love to have you join this awesome online crafting family. You guys have a great day. Happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.